Welcome to HR.com Live. This podcast is produced by HR.com, the #1 destination to help 1.7 million HR executives maximize human potential and drive extraordinary business results.
Good afternoon and welcome to HR.com Live. My name is Dr. Heidi Scott and I'm the Chief Learning Officer here at HR.com. My goal is to ensure that our learning ecosystem remains innovative as we equip HR professionals with the tools they need to become smarter and navigate their careers. And I'll be your host for today. In this episode, we're going to be talking with Mike Hruska about building learning ecosystems using design thinking. And I'm very excited about this conversation with Mike. Mike is a president and CEO of Problem Solutions. He's also a former researcher at the National Institute of Standards and Technology. So he researches, strategizes, designs, and builds advanced learning technology solutions and products. So Mike, thank you for being here today. I'm excited to spend some time with you. And we're hearing a lot about design thinking and learning. So what connections did you make when you first came across design thinking?
I've been doing design thinking for a number of years because I like to design products. And the tools for designing products that really meet people where they're at, that are feasible and usable and desirable, are amazing. And I said, why isn't this being used for learning? And I saw some pockets where people were actually using it. And we said, wait a second, that's because there are extensions to design thinking that could be made that can make it more useful for designing learning experiences, for digging into this concept of a learning ecosystem and what I call lassoing the dragon of the learning ecosystem, for innovation, for understanding employee experience. So design thinking is a great set of tools and methodologies. And most importantly, it's a frame for thinking about a problem space, identifying potential solutions, and then putting those solutions into action and bringing them into reality in the world. And design thinking is a magical tool that we use to very quickly understand a space, evaluate what could be done, what's the art of the possible, and then bring something that really brings user value to someone.
So when we think about learning, we think about the new HR leader and knowing that we're talking to HR professionals. Why should this matter to the HR professional?
Well, I think as an HR professional, we want people to be happy and knowledgeable and productive to increase the impact on our business. And using design thinking allows you to shine a flashlight where you can create the most impact and value for people. There's a range of different tools that are out there, and I'd say the standardized sort of design thinking. We have a number of tools that we've adapted to allow HR and L&D professionals to more easily adopt them for some of the specific problem spaces that they're facing. Here's on an article that you can read more about. However, if you're an audio listener, you can search Hruska, Design Thinking, and you'll find an article in Learning Solutions magazine on this.
Awesome. And I think that's what our HR professionals need today. We talk about the new HR leader. I think we have to stay looking at what's out there, what's to be added to our array of technology across our learning ecosystem. How's this impacted your approach and your work with organizations?
Well, what I often find is none of this stuff is that hard to do, but getting started is hard. In a lot of times. So that's why we put out some tools and examples and do training and speak at conferences and share and create things that are open source and Creative Commons so that people can use them. There's some pretty amazing outcomes that happen. One particular tool that we have is called the Learning Ecosystem Canvas. And we all think about how complex our learning ecosystems are, but after people have used this, which is open source stuff as well, I've gotten emails and calls that said, I didn't understand how complex everything was. Now I understand my entire world in one page and know exactly where to go to next. So it really helps to reduce the chaos and constrain the complexity and help people make themselves feel a little bit more sane about the challenges that are around them.
So when it comes to this buzz phrase, this learning ecosystems, can you just crystallize that to the simplest of definitions? What is an organization's learning ecosystem?
Yeah, that's absolutely a great question. We always hear this new meme in the space. It's been emerging for years. I could talk about the research side of it, but the easy thing is it's a place where people are aligned with business strategy through process, experiences, measurement analytics, and content. It's really the alignment of several dimensions of things that really matter inside organizations. People and business strategy being principal, but all of this things in terms of process and measurement analytics being supported by technology in some way. What happens, I think, a lot is people tend to gravitate towards the technology first. And my sort of fundamental belief is that technology is a tool. It's not the answer. And it's really important to think about people and alignment with strategy.
So when we think about, there's many organizations out there that might be on the smaller side where the L&D team isn't a team. Maybe it's not even a person. It's a facet of what the HR leader for that organization also needs to do. In that situation where they are busy and there's so much on their plates, why should an organization at that level or beyond, why should the HR professional, the HR leader, care about understanding and helping shape their learning ecosystem?
Sure. I mean, my view is that people are the most important part of the business, and empowering them in alignment with the business strategy is really important and really helpful. I have collaborated with very small singular persons that use this to understand where am I today, and then have that conversation with their team to say, well, where do we want to get to tomorrow? And the Learning Ecosystem Canvas is a super simple tool. It's got some framing questions on there that you could use with your team. You could do it by yourself if you're new to your role and trying to understand your space. And then over time, you can just print it out on the wall and tag it with Post-its and really get an idea of the value that you're creating, how you connect to the business, who your partners and activities and resources are, and how you're really creating value for your end users along the way. I've used it to develop STEM ecosystems with K-12 educators. It's highly useful in just about any domain. I haven't found one it doesn't work in yet.
That's cool. So I mean that was my next question, and you kind of already answered it. But what are 3 or so strategies you recommend that HR leaders consider or simply get a hold of and take some action on to propel their organization toward leveraging the most effective thinking and learning tools? And so I heard you say the Learning Ecosystem Canvas tool that you referenced. Inside of that, I know there are certain blocks, and you mentioned a number of those, but either expand on that or what else? What else should we be considering when it comes to strategies?
Right. So, I mean, I think we're all focused on what today looks like. You can find the Learning Ecosystem Canvas by searching Allen Interactions Learning Ecosystem Canvas, who we collaborated on that work with, or you can easily find the tools there. I think another thing, besides understanding where you are and where you might go, is thinking about innovation. I think innovation is this beautiful word that's really hard to get rubber to the road on for so many people, because we're worried about now, next, and later, and not really where are we guiding our organization to. So we developed another tool called the Innovation Building Blocks. This basically takes 10 elements of your learning ecosystem and allows you and your team to ideate around what the future potentials might be. So really simple thing is capture your learning ecosystem today, think a little bit about tomorrow, and then look at learning ecosystem innovation building blocks. Come up with ideas, think big, think 3 to 5 years out, think about possibility, think about potential, and then find those things that really resonate with your team and socialize that to bring those into where your focal point is moving forward.
No, that's great. I really appreciate the fact that these tools and these resources there's no charge for them. They're free. They're accessible. So those are some great strategies, Mike. I think that's so helpful to us as many organizations are searching for what's like you said, what's now, what's next. How do we be prepared? What's the must-read book? What are you reading? What's on your bookshelf? What do you recommend when we are most of us watching this show? We are self-anointed learning geeks. So what should we be reading?
I can't tell you one. I can tell you two.
Well, of course.
There's a book called Brave New Work. I would highly recommend it. It's a fantastic exploration of transformation in a number of companies, and finds those little things inside of companies and give you great set of examples and a framework to think about things that really make a difference in the business. I think that's fantastic. The other book that I've been recommending is Exponential Organizations by Salim Ismail. This is a fantastic book that starts to explain some of the phenomenon that's emerging around these massive disruptive companies like Airbnb and Uber, and some of the thinking and frameworks that people are using to transform industries and flip them on their head. Quite frankly, a lot of people are starting to dig into this work more. And so if you're at a company and you're learning and you have to help other people learn, and you read a book like Exponential Organizations or Brave New Work, that's just a great thing to start seeding at your company, because this is futuristic thinking that will make your organization more bulletproof from the change of the tidal wave of transformation that's coming out there in the marketplace.
No, that's great. And who is the author of Brave New World? Do you recall?
Aaron Dingman, I think.
Okay. Wonderful. That's really help. And I love getting book recommendations and the why behind it, and knowing a little bit about who's making the recommendation and what it's done for you. Well, Mike, thank you so much for taking your time to share your experience and your insights with us. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And don't forget to check back to our archive episodes. And we release new episodes every day, so you can stay up to date on all things. Have a great day, and cheers to you.
Thank you for listening to HR.com Live. We have new episodes daily to help you maximize your potential. Be sure to check out our archives on HR.com and share it with your friends. Cheers.